Hi everyone, welcome back. Ashala here, bringing you the Psychic Tarot Show, coming at you live every Saturday here on the Beyond Mystic channel. So before we get started, please remember to like, share, and subscribe to the Beyond Mystic channel. And if you are interested in having a session with me, booking a session with me, please check this out. Psychic Tarot reading session, 1 hour session. You can use the 10% off discount coupon on the banner below to book your session with me. And I'm booking into late July, early August now, but I would love to see you over there. And I've been really enjoying meeting many Beyond Mystic clients and just, really enjoying meeting this community. I've met some of you before, but this last month that I've been doing readings with many of you, it's been an absolute pleasure and a delight. So let's jump in here and have a look at what this week has in store for us. I like that I pulled the Sun card at the bottom, and we're hearing that there are going to be more solar flares, more of that kind of activity, which, as I've said many times before, regardless of what is the causation of these events, I feel like they are purposefully part of our evolutionary progress, and that we are being activated at higher and higher frequencies. Hi everyone. Hi Karen, Michelle, Frederick. Just lovely to see you. Grace tuning in from all over. Some of your names, it's really hard for me to read them, but I'm seeing you there, and I appreciate you joining me here live. I'm going to shuffle one more time and tuning in with the energies of all of us together. When I talk about collective energies and guides, what I mean is essentially just that when I do a reading, if I were to do a reading for the upcoming week, just me by myself in my living room, it would be, interesting for sure. But what I can tune in and receive with the support of all your guides, all your helpers, is so much more profound and meaningful and has relevance for all of us. And I like to say, just before I jump in for this week's overview, is that, people often ask me, well, how do you know that you're not getting bad messages from, bad entities or spirits? And the way I work is that I tune in to the frequency of the heart, and I see it almost like a radio bandwidth that is, a profound resonant frequency, and that is what I'm open to receiving, is energies, messages that come in on that frequency. So basically, if I'm tuning in a very good way, in a very heart-centered, power-neutral way, then that is the messages that I'm open to channeling. And it feels to me like it's worked very well for me over the past 25 years or so that I've been reading professionally. And I know other readers that practice that way as well. And I don't focus so much on individual guides as I do on that frequency bandwidth. And basically, I'm more interested in the quality of the message than I am interested in its origin, if that makes sense to you. I hope that's helpful. So let's look at this upcoming week. We've got 8 of Wands in the house of the self. Just hoping that I can, put that right there so you can see it a little bit better. 8 of Wands. 8 is basically an energy that gains momentum and just keeps chugging along, and wands are action. So we got this energy of chugging along, a lot of action, a lot of activity. We may be feeling charged and maybe a little restless. We'll see how that is qualified. Okay, so interesting. We've got 2 of Pentacles in the house of Taurus. Taurus is about our security, our money, our material possessions, and just how good we're feeling, really, how stable and settled and, secure we're feeling. So 2 of Pentacles, not necessarily feeling super stable and secure. It's a little bit up and down, right? A little bit of this juggling, rocky, back and forth energy. But what I like about this character is he's in motion. And he is basically, he's basically working with energy and allowing himself not to get stagnant. So we've got 2 cards that are about moving energy this week, not letting yourself get stagnant. And I guess that would be also represented by physical activity, possibly even a little bit of travel or going outside your usual routines with that 2 of Pentacles. Okay, beside it in the House of Gemini, 6 of Pentacles. This is a great card for sharing resources, getting together and working together collaboratively. It's also a card about thinking about sharing what you have, thinking in terms of gratitude and generosity. So we saw that last week. We saw that, I mentioned tithing and someone said, oh, good luck, who has enough to tithe? But, maybe we're not necessarily tithing money, but we may be just doing supportive things for others, like random acts of kindness, that sort of thing. So this is in the House of Gemini, and it helps, sometimes when you're feeling like you don't have enough and you're going into lack mentality, often being generous in some way with your time, your energy, or your resources, or all 3, can help you get out of that rut of seeing things from the cup half empty. So this is definitely the cup half full kind of energy. Okay, here we are in the House of Home. Well, I love it. We are back to a week where health reigns supreme, and this is healthy habits. There could be some kind of cleanse. There could be some kind of way that you're getting back into some healthy habits. Maybe, I feel like it's around your home. So it seems as though it's about setting things up differently in your home so that you can have more practical resources available to support your healthy habits. So whether that's just setting your kitchen up a little differently or a place where you might do some exercise, but giving yourself some support at home to encourage these habits. It's springtime here in North America, and it's a really great time to just get into our bodies and start feeling more healthy, being more active, and this is a good week to set some of those routines in motion. Okay, in the House of Leo. Leo is that where we say, open our arms, let the good things come in. What are we tuning in to call in from the universe as our blessings this week? Well, this card, the High Priestess, she is both the intuitive resource, so she can show up as our spirit guides, our allies. It could even be Star Nation ancestors, and she may even show up in our dream time. So we've spoken about this. Some weeks are really good for calling in profound dreams that are really helpful, and this week could be one of those weeks. Right beside that, in the House of Health, daily activities and lifestyle. So we could be experiencing a little downswing physically. I'm getting even mentally and emotionally. We could be feeling a little out of gear or out of sorts, and therefore, what a great time to tune back into healthy practices. So, I notice, being a very sensitive being, that it doesn't take a lot to put me out of balance, but I've also learned so many skills over the years to find my way back into balance. So it's literally this balancing act of, oh, there I go. Solar flares, or I ate the wrong thing, or I had an upsetting experience and I'm, starting to spiral out a little bit. but then I also know how to correct that. So it seems as though we're going to be doing some of this feeling a little out of sorts a lot, especially it feels like in the physical body and the emotional body, and then looking at ways to support ourselves with the practices that we know work. And I like to go back and do things that I used to do. We get a little discouraged sometimes. It's like, you may have been doing meditation or yoga or having a particular diet or regime, and then you fall off the wagon with that, and it might go awry for, months or even years. But if you know that something has been helpful for you in the past, this is a beautiful week to just pick it back up again, even if you say, I'm just going to do it for the next week or 2 or 3 before summer is upon us, right? So here we have in the house of relationships. So this is our long-term relationships. These are it could be family members, definitely partners, and anyone in that realm. This week is a very good week to do some processing, communication, to clear up something, to have a clearing conversation. Some weeks you'll want to just steer clear of talking or processing, but this week is a good week to get things out in the open. Let's look at the card beside it. Okay, yeah, so this week we could be really aware of the toll it takes on us. This is in the House of Scorpio, and it is the burnout card. It's the energy burnout card. And it's interesting because over here we've got all this new energy coming in, but over here in Scorpio there's some old way that we work, especially in relationships and communication. We could be very aware of sticky stuff there that needs to get cleared this week, because I don't know about you, but I've noticed that when I'm ready to evolve or upgrade my frequency, the things that no longer serve me feel like such a dead weight. They're just like impossible to continue carrying around. Like I carried them around for decades, no problem. But all of a sudden this week it's like, no, I can't do that anymore. I can't, carry this energy in relationship anymore. I've got to get things out in the open. I've got to clear things. So, good time for communication. Okay, another wand card. Lots of dynamic energy moving this week. I'm going to see if I can slide the whole thing down a bit more so you can see the top of the wheel here. And this is 7 of Wands in the House of Sag, the House of Sagittarius. Again, expansion, travel, exploration, spontaneity. Really great card to have in that position. 7 of Wands is, we call it the Valor card, and it is really about holding the line energetically. And this to me also feels like what's been going on politically in the last week, what's been going on in US politics. I noticed that someone asked about the Trump trial and how to support people who are feeling really frustrated and angry about that. What I'm seeing here is that we are going to be able to sort of, I want to say, weave things together better this week. We're going to be able to hold the divide and sort of hold our own somehow through this crisis. And I get that within the next 6 or 7 weeks, we see a real transformation in that political situation. We see things moving in a really positive direction. So again, it's a good time to feel empowered to not, I call this holding the hill. So what it means, in fact, is we don't give ground. We don't say, someone else has won. We hold the line. And this being in that house of Sagittarius, that house of expansion, whatever you do this week is going to continue to expand over the next 6 or 7 weeks and could really be the energy that turns the tide in a positive way. So, yeah, let's have a look at the top of our wheel here. King of Cups, here he is. This card is also, I want to say, really a card of being, a global ambassador. And having this energy of maturity, having this energy of, we're holding a lot, we're aware of a lot. And it's hard in a way to stay strong and stay neutral. But this is a card of great depth, and it means that you may be able to draw on more maturity, more of a sense of feeling at peace within yourself and clear about what your values are and what is motivating you. So I just feel like overall, in terms of politics and people feeling strong this week, emotionally and energetically, about what's going on out in the world, it does feel like we're going to settle into a much deeper sense of our true strength. So if you've been feeling a bit fractured and frazzled and out of sorts with the politics and the world situation, this week looks like you're going to have a sense of feeling more grounded in yourself. So I love that. Yeah, this out of sorts, it's so interesting. This out of sorts in the house of Virgo, like the little details, it's almost like you can get easily thrown off this week from some small little thing, and yet the big stuff, you're not sweating at all. It's like, so it's showing up in the small stuff this week. And that's good, because the small stuff is what we have control over, and we can really adjust our habits and our daily practices to feel better about the little things that are bothering us, because overall it feels as though we are stepping into having a greater sense of sovereignty and long-term purpose. So I'm just going to quickly remind you again, let's jump over and have a look at, if you'd like to book a session with me, here's the Psychic Tarot Reading sessions. You can book a 1-hour session and use the coupon below to get 10% discount. Also, I just heard about this. I'm going to put it up for you to have a look at. This is the Beyond Astro Weekly Forecast with Meg, and it is happening on June the 2nd at 5 p.m. Eastern Time. And I'm definitely going to tune in. This is a beautiful week. There's lots of cool stuff going on, and I would love to see what Meg has to share with us about that. And finally, of course, please remember to like, share, and subscribe over here at the Beyond Mystic YouTube channel. And let's finish up the rest of our wheel now. So we've got 4 of Pentacles in the house of Sagittarius. Not Sagittarius, Aquarius. The house of Aquarius is, it has to do with our connections and our community, our friends, and even it has to do with our reputation and just how much social energy is going on. This feels a lot more like a week to regroup than it does to socialize. We've got the 4 of Pentacles there. It could be a little bit of an energy of people just focusing on stabilizing in themselves. We saw this, this little Page of Pentacles in the House of Home. So sticking close to home and stabilizing in your health and habits and so on. Socializing might not be so highly featured, although we do see, of course, as I mentioned, good communication with close friends, loved ones, and partners, just to get stuff cleared so that you're not feeling you're carrying so many burdens. And finally, in the house of Pisces, which is our deep subconscious, it's our hopes, our fears, and it is, the things that sometimes trip us up. So overall, this week, and I feel especially by the end of this week, we are feeling more carefree. So whatever it is that you're doing in terms of, we talked about the shifting energies, the letting go of some of the stuff that you're carrying around in your personal life, having some clear communication about that. We talked about feeling more, I want to say, grounded in yourself about what's going on in the world. And by the end of the week, and that holding the ground, feeling like we are not giving ground, and we're not seeing any cards here that are about feeling psyched out, feeling maybe a little bit exhausted around what we're carrying personally in our relationships. But overall, this is a really great improvement, I want to say, from the way the wheels looked about a year ago. I don't know if you used to tune in, some of you, with me over on my Sunday Soul Samplers, but gosh, I remember week after week after week, it was the Tower, the Devil, the Nine of Swords, the Ten of Swords, and we're just not seeing that. We really haven't seen those cards now, knock on wood. As soon as I go and say that, next week's going to be full of it. But I have to say, I'm really pleased to see the evolution that seems to be happening for many of us, and this is good news. The final card in the center is Patience. So we have two Patience cards here. We have that Hold the Line, Seven of Wands. We have Seven of Pentacles, Patience. Yeah, we're 70% of the way there. And I'm hearing the way there to what? Well, whatever feels like the thing that you are the most desiring to evolve towards. Whatever it is that matters to you the most, the guides are saying 70% of the way you are there. And just like anything else, often that last, 10 to 15% is the hardest. So we really want to, I want to say, look back over the last even 6 or 7 years, I'm getting, with that Seven of Pentacles in the center, and really take stock of how much you've grown, how much has evolved, even in terms of, people are talking about how do we encourage people who feel so disappointed with what's happening? How do we stay strong? And what my sense is that we look back and we see progress in the last 7 years. Science tells us that our bodies change completely within 7 years, that every cell is replaced. And we are different people than we were 7 years ago. All of humanity has evolved, and sometimes it gets a little messier as things begin to heal and clear. In fact, most of the time, it's like that. So if you see that we are 70% of the way there, and I know some of you are like, are you kidding? We wanted to be 70% of the way there like 5 years ago. Why is this taking so long? Why? Well, I have to say, like I said earlier, I'm seeing overall this beautiful up-leveling energetically with people, and both individuals and with groups of people within our community, within our awake community. I've been doing professional readings and reading specifically for awake people since 2020. And I've seen in that time, in the last 4 years even, such an incredible evolution of personal consciousness. And I've experienced it in myself. I've seen it in my close friends and family. Yes, there's people who are still asleep. Yes, there's people that seem to be just spinning their wheels and maybe even look like they're going backwards. But, energy moving, that's what we want to see. And boy, have we seen a lot of energy moving in this last 7 years, haven't we? I mean, if anything, you could almost say that before that, a lot of humanity was like on pause. And we've seen so much energy moving. And overall, that is moving us in a good direction. It's growth. Even if it seems like we're going backwards. Sometimes I like to use the analogy of the waves going backwards and dredging things up that need to be cleared. So don't lose heart this week, people. You may find that you're losing heart over the tiniest little annoying things, and that's okay, because you have the power to change those things. And notice how in the big picture you feel stronger, you feel more mature, you feel emotionally more grounded and willing to be patient this week. Yay. I notice a lot of people make mention that I have a lot of positive energy, and that I, exude this sort of optimism and positivity. And some of you have had sessions with me, and I'd love for you to make comments in the chat about how, I'm not just glossing things over. This positivity comes from me having done that deep dredging work and noticing that in every situation, there's a lot of different ways to look at reality. And I've looked at so much of the shadow material, and I do that regularly with my clients. We don't just talk about the easy stuff, and I don't just paint a happy picture. We look at, in a way, some of the deepest shadow work that we have to do. But we look at it from this angle of, how could this be good for me? Why has my soul created this? What might be ideal about what's going on in my life? What might be ideal even in some of the most terrible struggles that we suffer from? What might be ideal about what's going on in the political arena at this moment and the global stage? It's really about every cloud has a silver lining, and when we look at things from that angle, we're empowered to begin to take steps to grow through the lessons, as opposed to just feeling stuck and scared and disempowered. So I hope that you can see that it's not just glossing over positivity. It's about having the courage to take that stance of deep empowerment. Yay. So I'm going to sign off for now. Yeah, thank you. Ashala is incredibly authentic. Much appreciated, everyone. Thanks for tuning in here. I didn't really get to questions this week, and I'm just zooming up and having a look. If you would like to bring a question to the Psychic Tarot Show next week, please put it in capital letters. And that way, when I'm scrolling up and down through the chats, I can just quickly have a peek at your question, and it's a lot more likely that I'm going to be able to answer it. Also, I'm not going all the way up to the top, so you might want to post it down a little bit further, because I usually don't answer questions till closer to the end of doing this spread. So yeah, bring your questions next week and we can have a look at least a couple of them. I wish you all such a beautiful week, and I look forward to seeing you here next time. Blessings.